It is interesting to note that there are approximately 109 mountains on our planet with elevations greater than 7,200 meters above sea level. These snow-capped mountains attract hundreds of thousands of visitors every year. Top 10 highest mountains of the world. Number 1. Mount Everest. First climbed by Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay in 1953, Mount Everest is, of course, the highest mountain in the world, located in the Mahalungur Himal sub-range of the Himalayas. The China-Nepal border runs across its summit point. Although it is the tallest mountain and attracts many climbers of both advanced and limited climbing skill, it is one of the easier mountains to climb. Number 2. K2. Mount Godwin Austen. The second highest mountain in the world is K2. The mountain took its name from the notation used by the Great Trigonometrical Survey of British India. It is located on the China-Pakistan border. It is the highest point of the Karakoram mountain range and the highest point in both Pakistan and Xinjiang. K2 is known as the Savage Mountain, due to the difficulty of ascent and the second highest fatality rate among the 8,000ers for those who climb it. The first ascent of K2 was completed by an Italian expedition team which was led by Mr. Ardito Desio finally. His team Mr. Lino Lacidoli and Mr. Achille Compagnoni successfully ascended to the summit on July 31, 1954. Number 3. Kanchenjunga. So you knew Mount Everest was the highest mountain in the world. You even knew K2 was the second highest. But we're betting if you asked most people what Kanchenjunga was, they'd guess it was some kind of street food. It is not. Kanchenjunga is the third highest mountain in the world. It can be found between Nepal and Sikkim in India, with 3 of the peaks on the border and the other 2 in the Taplejung district of Nepal. Kanchenjunga is the highest peak in India, and also the name of the surrounding section of the Himalayas and means the 5 treasures of snows, as it contains 5 peaks. The treasures represent the 5 repositories of God, which are gold, silver, gems, grain, and holy books. Kanchenjunga is the easternmost highest mountain on the earth. Mr. Joe Brown and George Band, a British expedition team, on the 25th of May 1955 climbed this peak for the first time. Number 3. Lhotse. Lhotse is one of the more famous mountains on any list of the top 10 highest mountains in the world, largely because of its proximity to Mount Everest. It is located on the border between Tar, China and the Khumbu region of Nepal. Mount Lhotse was first climbed in the 18th of May, 1956 by Mr. Fritz Luxinger and Ernst Ries from Switzerland. Mount Lhotse is becoming famous for its tremendous and dramatic south face. The south face raises 3.2 kilometers and is 2.25 kilometers wide, making it the steepest face of this size in the world. Number 5. Makalu. Makalu is the 5th highest mountain in the world above sea level. It is located in the Mahalungur Himalayas, 19 kilometers southeast of Mount Everest, on the border between Nepal and Tar, China. Mount Makalu was first climbed by an American team led by William Seary in the spring of 1954. Number 6. Mount Cho Oyu. Mount Cho Oyu is the 6th highest mountain in the world. It is located in Nepal-China border in Nepal. Cho Oyu means turquoise goddess in Tibetan. The mountain is the westernmost major peak of the Khumbu sub-section of the Mahalungur Himalaya, 20 kilometers west of Mount Everest. Cho Oyu is known as being one of the easiest of the 8,000-meter peaks due to its straightforward approach and lack of objective dangers. Mount Cho Oyu was first climbed on October 19, 1954 by Australian Joseph Joeckler, Herbert Tichy, Italy, Pasang Dawa Lama, Nepal. Number 7. Mount Dhaulagiri. The Dhaulagiri in Nepal is the 7th highest mountain in the world at 8,167 meters, and one of the most aesthetically stunning mountains of the lot. It is bounded on the north and southwest by tributaries of the Biri River and on the southeast by the Mayadi Kola. Its parent peak is K2. The name Dhaulagiri comes from the Sanskrit word where Dawala means dazzling, white, beautiful, and Giri means mountain. The mountains are separated by the world's deepest gorge, the Kalagandaki Gorge, so it's not a part of the world that's particularly struggling for scenery. Dhaulagiri was first summited by an Austrian, Swiss and Nepali expedition on May 13, 1960. Number 8. Mount Manaslu. Manaslu is the 8th highest mountain in the world. The name actually comes from the Sanskrit word manasa, which means intellect or soul. It is located in the Mansiri Himal, part of the Nepalese Himalayas. Manaslu was first scaled by Toshio Imanishi and Galzin Norbu, who were part of a Japanese expedition which reached the top of the mountain on the 9th of May 1956. Their ascent was controversial. Locals of the area had prevented a Japanese team from reaching the top in 1954, believing that previous attempts had displeased the gods and caused avalanches that destroyed a monastery in the area, killing 18 people. The Japanese made a substantial donation to rebuild the monastery, but this didn't restore goodwill towards the expeditions, and as a result, the second ascent of Manaslu didn't take place until 1971, when another Japanese team completed the ascent. It is said that, just as the British consider Everest their mountain, Manaslu has always been a Japanese mountain. Number 9. Nanga Parbat. The 9th highest mountain in the world is Nanga Parbat, in the Dimar district of Pakistan's Gilgit-Baltistan region in the western Himalayas. Like many of the other mountains, the name comes from Sanskrit, with Nanga and Parvata, meaning naked mountain. The Tibetan name for the mountain, Dimar, meaning huge mountain, known as Killer Mountain, till the first half of the 20th century. Now, however, it is less dangerous to climb, but still very difficult. Herman Ball from Australia was the first one to ever climb Nanga Parbat in 1953. Number 10. Annapurna 1. Annapurna 1 in Nepal is the 10th highest mountain in the world, and one of the most famous mountains on this list courtesy of the fact that the trekking in Annapurna is truly world-renowned. Annapurna is a series of peaks, the highest of which is called Annapurna 1. It is located in the Himalayas in north-central Nepal and is bounded by the Kali Gandaki Gorge on the west, the Marshiangi River on the north and east, and by Pokhara Valley on the south. Its parent peak is Cho Oyu. Annapurna the first of may be only the 10th highest mountain in the world, but it actually has a higher fatality rate than any other mountain on this list, with 32% of attempts to reach the top of the mountain resulting in a fatality. Maurice Herzog and Louis Lachenal climbed for the first time in June 3, 1950. And there you have it. Those are the 10 highest mountains in the world. The 10 highest summits. An honorable mention must go out to the amazingly named Gasherbrum 1, 8,080 meters, on the Pakistan-Chinese border, though. It's the 11th highest mountain in the world and as such misses out on a place in this list, and on the fame and fortune that comes with it, by a mere 19 meters.